Hello all, and thank you for listening to Mr. Laxton's video on these 2.3 Algebra 2 notes. Alright, so 2.3 is quick graphs of linear equations, and this is really a good review from Algebra 1. You guys have seen this before, you guys have done this before. We're just reviewing it, go through about how to do it again, make sure we have this down pat before we get moving on to tougher stuff. Alright. Essential question today is, how do I graph linear equations? And this, you guys see it here at the top bolded, y equals mx plus b. Hopefully you've seen that before. If not, here's what it means. It's slope-intercept form, and the reason why we like this y equals mx plus b, because we can just pretty much plug this into a graph and it does the work for us pretty much. All right, so y equals mx plus b, the m is the slope, so that's what we just talked about in the last section. In 2.2 is slope, rise over run, things like that. And my b is my y-intercept. All right, so the way that we're going to do this is we're going to first start with, hey, my y-intercept. All right, you're going to graph your y-intercept, and then you're going to walk the slope from there. All right, and then you're going to get 2 points. You can even get 3 points, 4 points, 5 points. All you need is 2 points to graph a line, and then make that line. Okay, so write an equation with a slope of 2 and a y-intercept of 3. This guy is just as easy as, hey, y equals, my m is 2 and my b is 3. So y equals 2x plus 3. All right, awesome, great. Dandy. All right, so this guy, my equations here, there's kind of some different ones that you have to write in slope-intercept form and then find the slope and find the y-intercept. These ones, a couple of these are actually pretty straightforward. This one is already in y equals mx plus b. I'm going to put a -1 there to just kind of, because that's what that negative in there in the front of it means, but that's just kind of how I like to look at it, because that is my slope and my y-intercept is 2. All right, so there to graph that one, I would start with my y-intercept of 2, and then I would walk a slope of -1. All right, so the next one is not quite in slope-intercept form, because these guys are kind of, this 2 has to talk with both of these. So y equals, and then x divided by 2 is just 1 over 2x plus 3 over 2. All right, so my slope here is 1 over 2, and my y-intercept is 3 over 2. All right. Awesome. Now let's keep on going here. Y equals -4. Ooh. That one is a tougher one, but if you remember that one is Hoy. All right, that one's Hoy, and then my next one here, if I have x equals 5, is Vox, if I get ahead of myself here. But this one, to write in slope-intercept form, it's a little bit tricky, but this one would be y equals, and we said that Hoy has a slope of 0, right? So my slope is going to be 0x, and my -4 goes. So that -4 is my y-intercept, and my slope is 0. All right. The next one, write that guy in slope-intercept form. I would say that you might not even be able to write this in slope-intercept form, because it's not even in y equals, and there is no y. All right, so this one, I'm just going to write x equals 5, but we talked about this. My slope is undefined. That's my u, and then my x-intercept, or excuse me, my y-intercept, there's none. This guy never hits. If I look at a vertical line at 5, this guy never hits this x-axis, or the y-axis, excuse me. It hits the x-axis at 5. All right. Now the next one is 2x minus 4y equals 16. These are kind of the trickier ones that you guys started to do in Algebra 1. The only really tricky part is that it's not in y equals mx plus b, so you got to get it there. All right. So I'm just going to kind of do a little work here. I'm going to subtract 2x to both sides. We did this in chapter 1, so I have -4y is equal to -2x plus 16. All right, now to get my y all by itself, I had to divide by -4 to all parts, divide by -4, so now I have y is equal to -2 divided by 4 is positive 1/2 x, and 16 divided by -4 is -4. Okay, so there, my slope is 1/2. Ooh, where did it go? Where did you go? There it is. And my slope is 1/2, and my y-intercept is -4. All right, awesome, great, fine, dandy. Those are all my slopes and all my y-intercepts. Now let's get into actually graphing some of these guys. All right. And here, this one isn't too bad. It kind of walks you through step by step here for example number 1. But you really just have to find my y-intercept. Like I said, start from there and then walk your slope. All right, so here my slope, my m is 4, and then my y-intercept is also 4. Okay, and so it says first here, it says step number 1, plot the y-intercept on the graph. So my y-intercept, I go up 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, that's my y-intercept. All right, and if I go from there, my slope is positive 4. So I go a rise over run, 4 over 1. So I rise 1, 2, 3, 4, and run 1. I always like to take up my negative and positive, kind of like I said in the last section. I like to take that up with my rise, and then you always run to the right. So here we go. You can also run backwards. That's the only time I walk to the left, is you go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then left 1. So that would kind of be like a -4 over -1. That's a 1, which is going to be still positive 4. All right, so here, connect those guys, make that line like so. All right, awesome. Example number 2, you have to do this all on your own. It doesn't tell you any instructions, but I know you guys are good at this. You guys can do this. My slope, my m is -3. I kind of like to make it as fraction, -3 over 1, and then my y-intercept is 2. So this is my m, this is my b. All right, so you start with that y-intercept. I have positive 2. All right, and then from there you walk that slope, and that's where I walk down 3, 1, 2, 3, and to the right 1. So see how this guy has a negative slope now? So all you need is 2 points to make a graph, but if you wanted to go -3 over 1 one more time to be right there, that's great. See how this guy has a negative slope? It's going down as I go from left to right. So that's how you got that one. Awesome. All right, so the last example, I believe, we're looking at standard form equations. So here's standard form, y equals ax plus by equals c, where both a and b are not 0. You could, and here's kind of like what I like to do is number 1 here, is you could rearrange this and get it in a slope-intercept form. Personally, that's what I would do to get this in the slope-intercept form, but there is kind of a second way that we'd like to teach to do this, is that you can find the x-intercept and you can find the y-intercept. All right, so that's where it hits the x-axis and where it hits the y. So now, how to find the x-intercept, you plug in y equals 0, and to find the y-intercept, you plug in x equals 0. So here we go. If I find, here for the first one, if I find my x-intercept, I have 2 times... to find my x-intercept, I have 2 times x plus 3 times 0 is equal to 6. Notice here that this whole thing cancels out. That turns into 0, so it's just 2x equals 6. So it's x equals 3 is my x-intercept, so that's my dot over there. And then now my y, if I go through here and I look at my y, and I have 2 times 0 plus 3y equals 6. So this guy cancels out, so I have 3y is equal to 6, and then I get y is equal to 2. So I get positive 2 there for that one. Then you can just go through, connect those 2 points, and then that is your line. All right. Again, if you wanted to look at this, and I'll kind of do some quick work over here. If you have 2x plus 3y equals 6, you could get this one into y equals mx plus b, this guy up here. You can subtract that 2x, subtract the 2x, so I get 3y is equal to -2x plus 6. Then you just go through and divide by 3 to all these parts, even that's 6. So I get y is equal to -2/3 x plus 2. So now if I look here, this is my y-intercept is 2, my b, and my slope is -2 over 3. So if I look, here's my y-intercept of 2, and if I go -2, if I go down 2 over 3, I'm still at that same point. So it's kind of the same deal there. So you notice either way, but do need to find how to find those x-intercepts and y-intercepts. We're going to talk about that a little bit later on in the year. Alright, so again, thank you for listening to this video. I hope it was some review. Maybe you learned a little bit more. I'm hoping. But we're going to get good at graphing these lines before we get into graphing quadratics and all kinds of different funky shapes. Alright, hope you have a good rest of your morning, afternoon, day, whatever you're listening to this video. Have a good one.